ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome back to Monday Morning Coffee. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if I sniff and cough a lot during this, I apologize. I will try not to have any sort of running nose during this because I am just now realizing there is no Kleenex, there's no paper towels anywhere in like this room or the next 3 rooms down. So if snot starts drizzling down from my nose, my entire career is over, and there's no fixing that. It's a little bit of a weird setup here. I'm just realizing. I think this is the. Have we been? I feel like we've been going on and off about properly having the Monday Morning Coffee title information on here. Did I have it last stream? Because I remember last stream it not having. I don't remember it having banners like this. I'm gonna open it in case you hear it. No, I didn't have it last time. That was very funny. Did I have it the time before that? Let's see. No, I did. I had it. I had it the time before that, I think. I also had the intro. I had the intro last time as well. Maybe that's what's saving me, is the intro. Maybe skipping the intro is a bad thing, and I shouldn't do it. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee. This is episode number 33. I have a coffee, I have a list of topics, and I'm going to talk about these topics until I finish the coffee. But today, as usual, it's pretty topic light. I don't have too much to talk about. It's mostly going to be me sandbagging as I try and finish this coffee in timer. I don't think I'll finish the coffee today. I filled up the coffee to the brim because I had that awkward amount of Starbucks iced coffee left in the fridge in that bottle, and it's like just enough so that it's more than you would have usually, but the amount that's left after you fill your usual amount is so small that you might as well use the rest of it on this, but then by using the rest of it you get like an uncomfortably large amount of coffee. That's, first of all, a very white people first world problem. But secondly, it explains why this coffee is filled to the rim, and so I probably will save some of it for working. Of course, coffee is not just a luxury, a tasty beverage. Beverage. It is also a tool, mostly because of the caffeine, which is why I try keeping both of those ideas in play. I'm very utilitarian when it comes to coffee, which is weird because I always, I used to do those coffee subscriptions. So stuff like, I want to say Atlas Coffee is one of them. Another one is Trade Coffee. I've done them all, and I can't taste the difference between any of them because I fill my coffee with a bunch of oat milk anyway. I don't use sweeteners, but I do use oat milk. And to me, all coffee just kind of tastes the same, as long as it's not black. So, I have had some standout coffees, usually from actual cafes, and I imagine the taste difference there probably isn't necessarily the coffee itself, but whatever they're putting into their creamer or whatever, because of course in that case, it might not be just straight oat milk. Or it might not just be straight coffee. There might be some elements in there, even though it says, like, latte, because I always order a latte. So I guess a latte is supposed to be, like, some form of milk, and then the coffee, and then that's it. But who knows what they actually put into all that shit. So there are some taste differences there, but when I'm doing these individual coffees, I mean, they all taste the same to me. And the main reason I ever drink coffee is mostly just to stay awake, or to stay focused on task. I think I talked about this on one of the very first episodes of Monday Morning Coffee. I'm a person who likes to, when I drink coffee, to kind of like use it as like almost like a timer, right? I mean, that's the point of the show, actually. That's a great, you know what? I was going to say, wow, I'm a fucking weirdo for saying that, but that's the point of this entire show. I have a cup of coffee, and I am going to keep going on these topics until I finish the cup of coffee. So I applied that to my daily life, right? So let's say I'm reading, right? I have a couple of books I want to read to get done. Or, I'm looking through my feed and I want to finish like checking the articles. I'll keep doing that. If it's an essentially endless task, right? I'll keep doing that until I finish the coffee. So this coffee timer sort of system, really, I mean, Monday Morning Coffee should be thankful for that idea, because that's how I started this whole thing in the first place. Also, I'm realizing that these banners are actually very helpful, even though I feel like it's weird. I feel like the quality of the camera now is worse, but I can't tell if this is a placebo effect or not, because it shouldn't be. It should be the exact same size resolution as the one on the full cam, but it feels slightly off. I don't know why. Let me see. Maybe it's autofocus. Let me try autofocus. It was autofocus. Okay. So anytime it looks slightly out of resolution, it's because autofocus isn't enabled when it should be. At least I know that for the future. I didn't know that before. Okay, well, that makes sense. That's a little embarrassing then. It was literally just a one button press to make the resolution immediately better. Hey, we learn. We learn on this show. This is a learning experience. Last week I was talking about communication, about saying less ums, about, thinking at the same level that I speak, all that sort of stuff. Not immediately digressing into other topics, but rather keeping them in the back of my mind so I can kind of cue them up later. That's something that we're learning on this show. That's a reason for this show's existence. And another thing is, where the fuck I said before. What was that? Oh, the autofocus thing. So now I know how to autofocus in the case that I was doing a real video. I didn't want to fuck up the quality on that. I just know it's a one button press. Although I wish it just kind of like autofocused and not button. But maybe I don't want that. Maybe if I did that, it'd be kind of weird. So like, let's say, so this isn't autofocusing, right? Yeah, it's not focused on my face. So it's not to press the button. I remember for the oh yeah, I remember. So it was way worse for the Grotto Beast stream because that was before I bought Droidcam X. So the way I do these, in case you're wondering, the way I'm able to get such fresh resolution on this camera is because it's my phone, which is very helpful because of course phone cameras are insane in comparison to any sort of real webcam you can get. Like this Logitech Brio. This Logitech Brio is like $200. It's probably a fourth of the resolution of this. Now, of course, the other thing is that this is my phone, so now I can't use my phone when I'm recording. And there are other things attached to this as well. But like having to purchase Droidcam X to get actual proper focus instead of having to like awkwardly go behind the screen and touch it to make sure that the camera autofocus is working. So yeah, for that Grotto Beast stream, it was like the free version of Droidcam, which is like 360p and it doesn't have any features. I would say, and this is only like $5, by the way, not like a subscription, just flat $5. It's a good investment. It's just sort of like a cheap way to improve your webcam quality if you do videos like this, or if you need a good webcam for whatever else you're doing, like for work or something. That's what I would recommend. I think I'm going halfway on this coffee. I think this is a halfway done coffee Monday morning coffee segment. I think that's what we're going for, because I would like to still have some of this coffee. I would say right now I'm probably 3/4 the way done, which means, doing the math, we're halfway done with this show. That's how that works. So, well, if we're halfway done with the show, let's dedicate the second half of this to, of course, our favorite activity, checking out the stats. Let's see how our guys have been doing. We are talking about, of course, the road to 100K followers. I have 4 different social media that I'm just kind of letting ride out to see which will be the first to receive 1,000 followers, because I'm very bored and I don't have a lot of I have a lot of free time, I should say. I have a lot of free time. Why is this slightly out of? Here we go. So the first one, of course, is the TikTok, which historically has done the best. This is currently sitting at 351 followers. It does not have the most amount of total followers, but it has been growing the most. In fact, I wonder if I can actually go back and see from the back, because I talked about this in the last episode and I didn't do anything about it, in terms of being actually able to see what last week it was. Did I do this near the end, or did I do this near the beginning? Or did I forget to share my screen when I did this last time? Okay, well, fuck this then. I think I forgot to share my screen. I think that's what happened. I think I did not share my screen, and I probably... You know what? Honest to God, I probably thought I shared my screen. Now, at least, I know I'm sharing my screen because I can see it in the preview. But I must have assumed that I was sharing my screen and didn't actually do it. Which is a little embarrassing. But since you can see the numbers now, we're at 350. Oh, and by the way, this is the Patreon page, which is new. I have now added this to the description, just so that you have it. You don't have to subscribe to it or anything. I don't really care that much. But if you did want to subscribe to it, it's down in the description, so that I don't forget. Because otherwise, you know, if I do it when it's relevant, I'm never going to remember to do it. So it might as well just be in there by default. Going back to this stuff. 351, I want to say we were at, 325 before, so this one's grown pretty well. The YouTube page has seen a weird influx in subscribers. I went from, now this one I remember because this one grows so little. Last week it was at 633. This week it's at 637. So 4 new people popped in. I still don't know why. In terms of the newest video, Don't Go Into Basement, which, by the way, in case you were curious, is a House Flipper stream compilation. It has 114 views, which means that it's now actually doing better than the Quora video, which is kind of sad, because I think the Quora video was less jailbaity, because everything that you see in this thumbnail and title is exactly what that video was about. This one is kind of jail. And in fact, I wonder if anybody has gotten mad since I last checked this. Because when we last checked it, because I was curious, because it had so many views. Oh, it's my Ever channel. The Ever channel's doing pretty good. Phil in the Rhythm, still doing great, but of course you can see it on TikTok as well. Because it got so many views, I was like, some of these people have to think this is like a creepypasta, not a House Flipper stream. So some of these people must be pissed off when they see this. Apparently one person was. We got one person. However, 2 more people decided that they liked it. 2 more people were fine with it. Which means that we're still positive in terms of the like to dislike ratio, which I think is really funny. Because there's no indicator at all or anything that it's going to end up being a House Flipper highlight stream. But 4 people are totally fine with it, thinking that it was definitely going to be a creepypasta thing, and then seeing that it was House Flipper, and then 1 person actually got pissed off. And honestly, I sympathize with that 1 person. This is the Pinterest page. The Pinterest page is the most popular thing. Well, I guess not in terms of subscribers, but definitely in terms of like view count, right? Like, assuming that these view counts are true, this is definitely the most popular page. It has been growing now. Seems like it was out of a rut. I want to say it was at 503 followers before, something along that, or maybe 513 followers. It's now 527 followers, so it has been growing. But of course, Pinterest has been known. The follower count on Pinterest has been known to be volatile, so it might go back down next week. And I'm assuming, and if I had to make a bet, I'm assuming this is going to go down next week, as well as the YouTube count. I think it's going to go back to around 631, 632. But I think the TikTok's going to keep growing. The Twitter is our last horse in this race. It has been declining now since the last time we checked. The last time it was 263, now it's at 260. I explained that at the time. I don't use this Twitter. This Twitter is actually technically out of the race because I don't use it, because I don't have any reason to use Twitter anymore. But it got a bunch of followers because of me doing some tweets about Fish Tank, which is still going on. I do like the Fish Tank show. So I tweet about it, and I guess a couple of the Fish Tank people followed me, but of course, I'm assuming that all of those are going to go away once the Fish Tank show ends. So it doesn't really matter too much. that is our. Okay. Oh wait, hey, you know what? I'm looking at his Twitter. Might as well bring one more thing up. I've been experimenting a little bit with a new art AI art model. This one, and let me share my screen again. This one takes a custom-made model that I have. I've always been messing with the fine-tuning, and I've been getting some things right, some things wrong. This most recent one is trained on anything 4.5, which is kind of the top of the line anime model for AI art. I then trained it on a custom data set of both drawings, like 2D images, but then also some real life, like photography sort of stuff. I trained it on that for about 30,000 steps, in case you were curious, in case you're into this sort of thing. I guess that number doesn't really mean anything to you. And then a couple of Lauras, which are basically more specific people. So, you can do a specific art style, like Renaissance paintings. I know Renaissance paintings are in there. It could be specific people. Like, what's a person who's in there? I want to say Yoko Shimomura. That is not the right field. That's music. I'm going for a name, Shinkawa. So Shinkawa from Metal Gear Solid. But then also, who's a white person who's on there? Renaissance paintings. Shit. There's like 20, and of course I can't name any of them off the top of my head. There's a 90s anime model in there, which is general. You know why? A lot of these people, a lot of them, their lore is from Civi. Civi is the sort of place where you get all these models and lores, and of course, a lot of the user base on Civi is Chinese, so a lot of the names, the lores, are in Chinese, and I don't know who they're based on. So that explains it. I was thinking, I should really know a lot more of these. I know Yoshida. I know Kishimura, the Street Fighter artist. I know Shinkawa, and ironically, those are the three that I made myself. And I can't remember any of the other ones that I got from Civi, because I'm pretty sure none of them are labeled after actual artists. I'm sure they're based on specific artists, but I don't know what that artist would be, because it's in a different language. But anyway, so you have 10 to 20 of these, right? So you got Renaissance and Shinkawa and Kishimura and all those random stuff all together. 10 of them that are fine picked in terms of aesthetic rating by me. Of course, my view on aesthetics. You then weight them, apply them to the model, and when all of that is said and done, you get something like this. So this is a custom art style, and you'll see that there's slight differences between them. I noticed the screen is a little bit stretched, so they don't quite look like this. But of course, you can go to my Twitter if you want the original versions of them. But it's pretty consistent, because you want it to be consistent, right? You want it to do relatively the same thing, but you'll notice some examples in terms of the modeling difference. So for example, this one is completely flat 2D. This one is a little bit 3D. You can tell because of the shading on her face, but then also some of the more geometric rendering, I guess you could say, on her clothes. But then the other ones are just all 2D again. So it's an experimental model. I don't know. A lot of this boils down to the fact of, yes, it can make anime girls very well, but can it make everything else very well? And at the end of the day, my ultimate version of a model, I think I need autofocus again. Let me try that. Oh, maybe it was. No, it was focused. Well, I'll get better at figuring out whether it needs to be focused or not. At the end of the day, you want a model that can do everything pretty well, right? You don't want a model that can do one thing very, very well, because that model is not very flexible, right? And of course, in a dream scenario, you can do a model that does everything very well, but that's kind of out of the scope, right? Not very possible. So anyway, that's what I've been working on, and with that, I have not finished the coffee, but I have reached the amount of coffee that I have decided that I am okay with. I'd like to use the rest of that coffee for work after this, but This has been Monday Morning Coffee, episode 33, I think I said? Episode 33. I don't know, I still need to figure out the outro to this. Like and subscribe, I guess. I don't know. Eventually this show's going to be on Anchor, though. It's going to be on podcast, so I'm not going to be able to say that sort of thing. I don't know. Just, have fun. Have a good day. That sort of stuff. I'll figure something out. Give me a couple more takes. We're on episode 33. It's supposed to be a triple-digit show, right? We're supposed to be on episode 100, so I got time. We're less than halfway through, and that's assuming that we end on episode 100. But I will see you next time, and I will run the outro this time, so at least you will have an outro. But other than that, I will see you next time.